What if I told you that improving your cardiovascular health by like 25% might require installing a 750-pound, 185-degree wooden box directly into the middle of your house?
I mean, it definitely sounds like a massive contradiction when you put it that way. We're so conditioned to think of at-home wellness as something sleek or portable and just entirely convenient.
Right. Usually we expect wellness to be as easy as a gym membership. You just, swipe a card, use the communal equipment, sit in a steam room for 10 minutes and leave.
Yeah. And the maintenance, the electrical load, the cleaning, none of that is your problem. It is entirely outsourced.
Exactly. But when you step into the world of permanent, heavy-duty, at-home wellness installations, that transactional gym membership starts looking like child's play. You are not just buying a product, you are essentially taking on a minor home renovation.
Oh, absolutely. Bringing that kind of infrastructure into your personal space, it represents a structural lifestyle change. You are making a physical and, frankly, a financial commitment to a very specific daily routine.
Which brings us to today's deep dive. We are exploring a really comprehensive review from pooladvisors.net on the Almost Heaven Grayson 4-person traditional steam sauna.
It's quite the piece of machinery.
It really is. And the mission of this deep dive is to shortcut the research process for you and help you figure out if this significant home wellness investment is actually the right fit for your space, your budget, and your lifestyle, or if you are better off just sticking with that gym pass.
Right, because it's not for everybody.
Definitely not. Okay, let's unpack this, because to really grasp what the Grayson is, we have to cut through the muddy terminology in the wellness space. This isn't one of those zip-up metallic heat tents you see heavily targeted in social media ads.
Oh, far from it. The Almost Heaven Grayson is an indoor, 4-person traditional steam sauna, and it's built in West Virginia by a company with over 40 years of experience, specifically in the Finnish sauna tradition.
40 years, wow.
Yeah, and that word traditional is the crucial differentiator here. It dictates the entire mechanism of how the unit actually operates.
Right, and I find it helpful to frame that mechanism using a cooking analogy. Today, a lot of people are familiar with modern infrared saunas. I think of those as like the microwaves of the sauna world.
That's a great way to put it.
You just plug them into a standard 120-volt wall outlet, and they heat up incredibly fast, usually in about 10 to 15 minutes. It's a quick, direct hit. But this traditional steam sauna, this is like preheating a massive, heavy-duty commercial oven.
Yeah, it takes about 45 to 60 minutes just to reach its optimal temperature of 185 degrees Fahrenheit.
Right, and it utilizes heavy physical stones. And to run all of that, it requires a serious, heavy-duty, 240-volt electrical connection.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, that fundamental difference in the heating mechanism changes the physiological experience entirely. Returning to your microwave analogy, an infrared sauna uses light waves to heat your body directly from the inside out.
Rather than heating the air around you,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly. The environment itself stays relatively dry and honestly pretty cool. But the traditional Finnish experience relies entirely on convective heat and high humidity. You are manipulating the environment itself.
You are heating the air to heat the person.
Yeah, and you do that using the Harvia electric heater that's included with the Grayson. It comes with 40 pounds of physical sauna stones that literally sit directly on top of the heating elements.
40 pounds.
Right, and the energy required to superheat 40 pounds of solid rock is immense, which is why a standard wall outlet simply cannot power this unit. Once those stones are superheated, you ladle water over them, creating this sudden, intense burst of steam, what the Finns call loili.
Loili, I love that word. It sounds exactly like what it is, this thick rolling cloud of heat. But beyond just feeling incredibly intense, breathing in that humid cloud has to trigger a different response in the body compared to just sitting in a dry infrared box.
Oh, it absolutely does. It creates very specific respiratory benefits. When you inhale that highly humid 185-degree air, it promotes what is known as mucociliary clearance.
Okay, mucociliary clearance.
Yeah, it effectively helps to loosen congestion and open up the airways in your respiratory tract. It creates this distinct, heavy, enveloping sensation that forces you to take deeper, more deliberate breaths. You aren't just sitting and passively sweating, you are actively breathing the heat into your lungs.
Right, you are actively participating in the ritual by ladling the water and, controlling that humidity. But that intense humidity immediately raises a red flag for me.
How so?
Well, if I am intentionally creating a 185-degree cloud of thick moisture inside my house, how does the structure itself survive? Like, wouldn't a normal wooden box just absorb all that water and turn into a massive, expensive mold incubator?
It absolutely would, which is why the material engineering of the cabinet is so vital. The Grayson is constructed primarily from 1 3/8 inch thick, tongue-and-groove solid cedar lumber.
Cedar, okay?
Yeah, and the choice of cedar goes far beyond creating a rustic, cabin-like aesthetic. Cedar is functionally essential because it contains natural oils that make it highly resistant to mold, mildew, and rot.
Even under those extreme moisture fluctuations.
Especially then.
So it's actively fighting off the dampness. But why specifically 1 3/8 inches thick? That sounds incredibly heavy and dense for an indoor kit.
It is heavy, but the thickness acts as a thermal mass.
Okay.
When the Harvia heater is blasting energy into the room, that thick cedar absorbs the heat. Once the wood is fully saturated with thermal energy, it begins radiating that heat back into the cabin.
Oh, I see.
Right, and this creates a much more even, stable temperature profile than if you use thin wood, which would just let the heat escape and force the heater to constantly run at maximum capacity. Plus, the tongue-and-groove design ensures the planks lock together tightly.
Creating a robust seal as the wood naturally expands and contracts with the humidity, right?
Exactly.
And as a byproduct of all that thermal mass heating up, the cedar releases this natural woody aroma into the air. It engages the olfactory senses, adding this whole layer of aromatherapy to the physical heat.
It's a very immersive sensory experience.
It really is. But even with the great smell and the solid construction, I gotta say, stepping into a heavily insulated, incredibly hot 6x6 foot wooden box sounds like a recipe for claustrophobia.
Well, the designers actually anticipated that psychological barrier. The Grayson features a full-tempered glass door.
Which is such a smart design choice. It completely breaks up the solid wood visually.
It does. It allows ambient natural light to filter in from whatever room you have placed the sauna in, and it gives the user a sight line to the outside. It really mitigates that primal feeling of being trapped in a small, dark space, making the interior feel significantly more expansive.
Speaking of the interior, the way you sit inside this cabin is just as intentional as the walls. The Grayson features 2 horizontal, full-length cedar slat benches positioned at different heights. And here's where it gets really interesting for the user experience.
The microclimates.
Yes. I like to think of this 2-tier bench system as creating distinct microclimates inside the sauna. Because heat naturally rises, that upper bench is where all the heat pools. That is the hardcore, quote-unquote, roast me, 185-degree intense Finnish peak.
Right, it's intense up there.
But the lower bench sits much closer to the floor, where the ambient temperature is significantly cooler. It acts more like a gentle simmer.
That thermodynamic gradient is a classic feature of traditional sauna engineering. It makes a single unit highly versatile for multiple users simultaneously.
Which is great for couples, right?
Exactly. If you are sharing the session with someone who has a completely different heat tolerance, one person can be experiencing the intense thermal load on the top bench, while the other is comfortably sweating on the lower tier without feeling completely overwhelmed.
It accommodates everyone. And while you're navigating those microclimates, that 8-kilowatt Harvia heater has some serious safety features built into its design. Because, you don't want a scorching metal box sitting exposed in a tight space.
No, you definitely don't.
It uses a dual-wall design.
The dual-wall construction is a brilliant piece of functional safety. There is a literal air gap between the inner heating chamber where the elements and rocks are and the outer casing of the heater.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that air gap prevents the extreme heat from transferring directly to the exterior metal, keeping the outside relatively cool to the touch. This is crucial if you have pets or children in the house who might accidentally brush against the unit.
Right, that's peace of mind right there. It also has a 60-minute automatic shutoff, so you can't accidentally leave it running, go to sleep, and risk a fire hazard or, wake up to an astronomical electric bill.
Very true.
But the feature I genuinely appreciate the most is the delay timer. It allows you to delay the startup by up to 8 hours. So earlier, when I complained about it taking 45 to 60 minutes to preheat like a massive oven, this completely solves that.
It really does.
You can just set the timer before you leave for the office, and the unit will automatically turn on and run its preheat cycle. So it is perfectly at 185 degrees the second you walk through your front door.
It seamlessly integrates the preparation phase right into your existing daily schedule. And once you step inside, the ambiance is further controlled by built-in LED lighting situated behind the backrests.
Which looks really nice in the photos.
It provides a soft, diffused glow rather than a harsh overhead glare. Though it is worth noting from the source material that this LED system runs on a separate, standard 120-volt circuit.
Oh, so you need 2 plugs.
Yeah, meaning you will need a regular wall outlet nearby in addition to the massive power line for the heater.
Good to know. Okay, so we have all these intentional features, the thick cedar acting as a thermal mass, the dual wall heater, the microclimates, the atmospheric lighting, and they all synthesize to trigger a profound reaction in the human body. The review cites a long-term study that is just staggering.
The cardiovascular data.
Yes. Individuals who use a traditional sauna 2 to 3 times weekly are linked to a 25% lower risk of dying from heart disease. 25%. That is a massive statistical drop just from sitting still in a hot room.
I know, it sounds too good to be true, until you understand the physiological mechanism at play, which is primarily vasodilation.
Right.
When you subject your body to 185-degree heat, your core temperature rises. To prevent you from overheating, your blood vessels dilate or widen. Your heart rate then has to significantly elevate, sometimes jumping from a resting 70 beats per minute up to 120 or even 150 beats per minute, just to pump blood to the surface of your skin to cool you down.
So your heart is literally sprinting, pumping blood aggressively, while your muscles are completely at rest.
Precisely. You are putting your cardiovascular system through a moderate workout without the physical impact on your joints or muscles. Furthermore, the extreme heat triggers the production of heat shock proteins in your cells, which help repair damaged proteins and reduce systemic inflammation.
So it's a highly active biological process happening beneath the surface of a seemingly passive activity. Okay, so the picture we have painted so far is incredibly appealing. We have this aromatic, glowing, heart-strengthening cedar sanctuary waiting for us, but we have to transition from the idealized health benefits to the stark, unforgiving realities of actually installing this machinery in your house.
Yeah, it's not a small undertaking.
Because this isn't something you just unbox from a delivery van. Let's look at the sheer physics of the Grayson.
The physical footprint is substantial. It is roughly 6 feet by 6 feet specifically, 71.5 inches wide and deep, and 77.6 inches tall. This means you absolutely must have a room with at least 7 feet of ceiling clearance just to slide the roof panels into place during assembly.
And it weighs 750 pounds empty.
Yeah.
That is essentially the weight of a grand piano. It doesn't arrive in a cardboard box. It arrives via commercial freight delivery on a massive wooden crate. The logistics of just breaking down the crate in your driveway and carrying the heavy cedar panels into your house requires serious manual labor before you even begin the 4+ hours of 2-person assembly.
And the logistical hurdles only escalate from there. As we mentioned earlier, the 8-kilowatt heater requires a dedicated 240-volt, 40-amp circuit. For most listeners, this is not a DIY weekend project.
Not at all. We need to be very clear about what pulling a 240-volt line actually entails. You are hiring a licensed electrician to come to your home, drill through your wall studs or floor joists, and run thick, heavy-gauge copper wire all the way from your main breaker box, which, might be in your garage or basement, across the entire house, to wherever you are placing the sauna.
Right, and that kind of specialized labor and material is going to add anywhere from $500 to $1,500 to your total cost.
Easily.
Yeah.
And when you factor in that the Grayson itself carries a retail price tag between $4,500 and $5,800, that hidden electrical installation cost is a significant budget adjustment.
It really is.
But the electrical work isn't even the hurdle that blew my mind when I read the source material. Wait, hold on. I'm spending up to $5,800 plus an electrician's fee for a luxury wellness room, and I don't even get a floor with it. The product does not come with a floor.
This raises an important question, right? Is your home's physical architecture actually ready to support a high moisture environment? Because you are correct. The sauna is effectively a structural shell. The cedar walls sit directly on top of whatever existing flooring you have in that room.
Which is wild to me.
And the flooring rules for a traditional steam sauna are completely unforgiving.
Because you are literally dumping water onto hot rocks and creating condensation.
Exactly. The sauna must sit on a hard, non-porous, moisture-resistant surface. Concrete, ceramic tile, vinyl, or laminate are acceptable. Carpet is strictly, unequivocally forbidden. If you assemble this 750-pound unit over a carpeted room, the moisture from the loyally will condense, drip down, and become permanently trapped beneath the unit. The carpet will mold, it will rot, and eventually the moisture will destroy your wooden subfloor.
So if the only available space you have for a 6-by-6-foot wooden box is in your finished carpeted basement, you are completely out of luck. You either have to rip up the carpet and lay down tile, or, as the review points out, purchase an optional separate wood flooring kit directly from Almost Heaven.
Right, which is yet another hidden cost and logistical step you have to plan for before the freight truck ever arrives.
It demands an exceptional level of forethought, which leads us to evaluate if navigating the freight delivery, the complex assembly, the expensive electrician, and the strict flooring requirements is actually worth the reward. To answer that, we have to look at the historical data of what real customers are experiencing.
The reviews are very telling.
They really are. Looking at the data from Wayfair, the Grayson holds a very strong 4.4 out of 5-star rating based on 27 reviews. The reviews are actually fascinating from a psychological perspective.
How do you mean?
Well, even the 5-star reviews sound like people who just survived a mild home renovation.
Yeah.
They absolutely love the final product, but they wear the installation process like a badge of honor. They want to make sure, they worked for the sweat.
That's hilarious. But the feedback highlights a very consistent theme. Aaron from Washington State noted it was surprisingly easy to assemble for non-handy people. But his primary advice to future buyers was a stern warning to secure an electrician for the hardwire hookup early.
Right.
Dawn from Texas called it the perfect choice for her home, but made sure to emphasize the effort required to pull that 220 line.
And Elijah from Los Angeles focused on the performance. He loved the spacious size and was thrilled that he was able to hit 190 degrees Fahrenheit on his very first run. That proves the Harvia heater, despite the electrical hassle, absolutely delivers that intense traditional thermal load it promises.
It definitely works.
But you always have to look at the negative feedback to see where the system breaks down.
Yeah, Allison from Maryland left a harsh 1-star review because the LED back panel light failed to work upon installation. And Nora from Maine expressed sheer frustration, noting she was completely halted mid-assembly by the realization of the missing floor.
Nora's situation is exactly what we were warning about. Imagine getting that massive crate delivered. You have a friend over to help you lift the panels. You are 2 hours into the build and you suddenly look down and realize, wait, I have to put this on my living room carpet. Where is the bottom piece?
That would be utterly maddening.
It really would.
It highlights a critical failure in expectation management during the purchasing phase. But if we synthesize this feedback pattern across all the reviews, a very clear picture emerges. The core structural engineering of the Grayson, the robust Harvia heater, the heat-retaining thermal mass of the thick cedar, the spacious interior dimensions, those elements perform virtually flawlessly.
Yeah, the product executes its primary function perfectly.
Exactly. The friction points driving negative reviews are entirely based on external logistics. It's the scheduling and cost of third-party electrical work, the specific flooring requirements of the user's home, or ancillary accessories like a 120-volt LED strip failing.
The sauna itself is an absolute tank. It's the process of integrating the tank into your existing house that causes the headaches.
Very well said.
So synthesizing everything we have unpacked today, the cardiovascular benefits, the heavy-duty installation hurdles, and the hard-earned customer praise we have to define exactly who this product is built for.
The profile of the ideal buyer for the Almost Heaven Grayson is narrow, but highly specific. This is for you if you explicitly desire the high convective heat and the humidity of a traditional Finnish sauna, and you find the dry, radiant heat of an infrared unit lacking.
Right.
It is for you if you want to fit 3 to 4 people comfortably. And most importantly, it is for you if you have the upfront budget for the unit, plus a licensed electrician, and you already possess suitable hard flooring in a room with at least a 7-foot ceiling.
And conversely, it is absolutely not for you if you are looking for a simple plug-and-play setup. If you live in a rental property where you cannot legally modify the electrical panel, or if your morning routine requires a sauna that heats up in 10 minutes flat before a quick shower, this will only cause you immense frustration.
You definitely need to look into infrared options instead.
So what does this all mean? From a listener's perspective, I have to push back on one specific metric, and that's the size.
Okay, let's hear it.
Let's say I own my home. I have the budget for the 40-amp circuit, and I have a concrete basement floor, but I live alone, or it's just me and my partner. Isn't a massive 4-person sauna completely overkill? Am I not just paying a premium in electricity to heat empty air?
That is a very common assumption, assuming you will only ever sit upright. But you have to look at the interior dimensions to understand the spatial psychology at play. The interior benches are 66.75 inches wide. That is over 5.5 feet of uninterrupted flat space. If you buy a compact 2-person sauna, you are forced to sit completely upright, shoulder to shoulder, for the entire 45-minute session.
Oh, right. You are locked into a very rigid posture.
Exactly. But a 4-person unit like the Grayson allows a single user or a couple taking turns on the upper and lower tiers to fully recline and lie down on the benches. You can stretch your legs out entirely. It transforms what could be a crowded, upright social box into a spacious, deeply private meditation room.
I hadn't even considered the postural difference. Lying completely flat in 185-degree heat sounds like a completely different tier of relaxation than sitting up straight with your feet dangling off a wooden bench.
It really is.
It changes the environment from a waiting room into a restorative bed.
It changes the entire physical experience. And that leads to a profound aspect of this investment that isn't explicitly listed on any spec sheet or blueprint. Beyond the proven cardiovascular improvements and the respiratory benefits of the steam, installing a traditional sauna in your home enforces an increasingly rare modern discipline.
And what's that?
Mandatory physical disconnection.
Mandatory physical disconnection. Wow, that is a highly resonant concept.
Think about the physics of the environment. You simply cannot take your smartphone, your tablet, or your laptop into an enclosed room that is 185 degrees Fahrenheit with rolling bursts of heavy steam. The hardware would literally melt.
That's true.
So by purchasing and installing this sauna, you are not just buying a wooden box for your basement. You are forcing yourself to carve out 45 to 60 minutes of pure, uninterrupted presence in your own home. No notifications, no emails, no doom scrolling on a screen. Just intense heat, deep breath, and silence.
In today's hyper-connected world, finding a place where you are physically prevented from looking at a screen might actually be the greatest long-term health benefit of all. If you are ready to commit to that level of absolute presence, if you want to embrace the Finnish tradition and build your own permanent wellness sanctuary right in your house, you can check out the Almost Heaven Grayson 4-person traditional steam sauna by clicking the link in the description below.
Highly recommend it if you have the floor for it.
It might take an electrician, a freight truck, and a free weekend of heavy lifting to set up, but once it is there, you never have to scan a gym membership card to get your sweat in ever again. Just walk down the hall.
Just ensure you aren't walking onto carpet when you do it.
Seriously, check your floors first. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. Let that idea of mandatory disconnection simmer for a bit. We'll see you next time.